about the 16 books I read between March and April. Between the 2 months, because I did not do a wrap up for March, I got really sick, and I have been very inactive since then because right after I got sick, once I got better, I went to Spain and Portugal, and then since I got back, it's just been a lot to come back to. So in March, I read 4 books, and I got a average rating of 3.7, so that was in the middle reading month for me. And in April, I read 12 books and had a 4.16 average, so that was a little bit better than March. But to start with March, I read A Court of Mist and Fury, and I've been documenting this. I do plan on making this series a full video, so you'll see more thoughts in that video. I'm not going to go in depth here. I can't explain the plot of the book, but this is the second book to ACOTAR, and I rated it 3.75. I don't think I'm loving this series as much as everyone else, but what got that to that rating was I feel like it was a little longer than it needed to be. I felt like some parts really dragged out. So yeah, but I will have a video hopefully in the next month and a half for that series to see my in-depth thoughts. And I forgot to say this at the start, I have a really sore throat today, but I really do not want to keep putting off posting on my YouTube channel, so we're dealing with what this is today. The second book I read in March was When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and I didn't say Sarah J Maas. I think we all know this by now, honestly. But When in Rome by Sarah Adams, this will also be in a video. I'm reading some of TikTok's most popular contemporary romances, and this is one of them. But I will say I gave this a 3.5 star rating. For the size it is, that's a good rating in my opinion. This was very short, quick, easy read. It was really sweet. So, what was her name? Amelia Rose is super famous. She's a singer, and she needs a break from that reality, and she goes to Rome, Kentucky, because she knows she doesn't have the time to go to Rome, Italy. And I think that's a really funny concept. I think it's a really funny concept. I thought it was really cute. You do really like both the characters, and she meets a baker who has already had his heart broken, and he judges her for who she is, but ends up letting her stay at his house because her car breaks down in his yard and takes 2 weeks to be fixed. In that 2-week time span, obviously there is some insta love in this book, but it was really cute for what it was. Come say hi. The next book I read was The Score by Elle Kennedy, and I rated that a 3 star. I think that's my lowest rating of this series so far. I really didn't enjoy that one, and I don't really remember what it was about. I honestly don't know. It's part of the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and that was my least favorite, I think, but we will talk more about that series later into this video. And then I finally got to The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Now, I've had this since Christmas. I've been waiting to read this. I was so ready to read this, and then I just didn't until March. I rated this, I rated this a 4.5. I really did enjoy it. It wasn't quite 5 star for me. I think my expectations were a little off from it, but overall I did love this. I do love the characters. You are learning about them as you go on through the series, in my opinion, and there's a little bit of a love triangle. Do not read the series for that because it is very minimal in comparison, but basically this is about I think 4 or 5 teenagers recruited by the FBI for their natural abilities, and the main character you're reading about is a psychic, and not psychic, a profiler, a natural profiler, and basically each book follows a different case, and I thought this idea was super cool. So cool and executed very well. I did really love this, even though it was just a 4.5 star for me. I don't even know what would really make it better, in my opinion. But that's just how I was feeling. I wasn't feeling 5-star vibes. And then I continued into April with Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the next book from The Naturals. Now, this was also a 4.5 star for me. Obviously, I can't really talk about the plot because you need to read the first book, but I think I enjoyed this one more, truthfully, because it didn't involve our main character as much. And I just love how things are really picking up with everyone in this book. I can't wait to continue it. Maybe I'll read it in May, probably not, but I will be continuing this. Just, I like to give little breaks between series just because I get bored of the same thing, and that will make me dislike the next book more. The next book I read was on Kindle Unlimited, Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, and I surprisingly rated that a 4-star. Dark romance is not quite my thing. I read Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, and I hated it. I hated all of it, minus the mystery part, which wasn't the main part of the book. I actually enjoyed it, and basically what happens is this girl steals identities, and that is what she does to survive, because she is wanted for something that you learn more about throughout the book. And she has a one-night stand with this guy, our main character. I don't remember either of their names, and I'm not going to do the research. I'm not feeling great. I'm trying to get this video through. So we're following her, and she steals his identity after their one-night stand, and he is not going to let that go. So then, I don't know if this would be a spoiler. No, it's not. I believe it's on the back of the book. They get on a boat together because he finds her later, and the boat sinks, and they end up stranded on this little lighthouse island together. And all I will say is search up your trigger warnings. There are heavy topics. Don't read this as an entry level into dark romance, in my opinion. Unless I'm just really weak to dark romance, I'm not really sure at this point, but it was a lot, but it was really enjoyable for me somehow. The next book I read, continuing the dark romance, is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. Now this one follows two serial who kill other ones. And this is a dark romance, but it's also a rom-com. It's funny, it's right to the point, it's a little insta-lovey, but basically a guy and then gets stuck at his house, and then he shows up to him and finds her, and then once a year they get sent on a little mission from, I think, his brother to find the killer that is out in that area wherever he sends them. And basically they don't know that person's name or anything, and it's just a manhunt basically. Now I rated this, I believe, a 4 or 4.5. A 4. Now I do think this is a little overhyped for me, but my main problem with this was the spice. I didn't like it. I didn't like it as a fair thing. I just feel like it wasn't needed, and then it got a little heavy there for a minute, but I feel like this book really did not need it, and she put it in anyways. But overall, I really did enjoy this, but it was very insta-lovey, but it's told over a lot of over a couple years, but it feels like insta-love reading it because it's solely based around the two of them, and you don't feel the years going by. They do. But I did overall really enjoy this. It was really funny. It was very quirky. I thought it was cute. Okay, continuing. I finally read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I have had this since probably when it came out, and that's why I have it in the hardcover. And I loved this. This was a 5-star for me. I really do believe I love Emily Henry. I've read Beach Read and now Happy Place, and I'm currently reading Book Lovers, and I want to continue, and I want to read Funny Story. I already bought it. Our two main characters, Win and Harriet, they break up, but they both get invited to go to their friend's summer house that they go to for 1 week every year that they stopped doing years ago, because these characters are now 30 plus, and so they're spending one last week there before the house is sold, and they don't want to ruin what is going on by saying, hey, we broke up. So basically they're fake dating to make their friends happy, and you're learning about what happened, like how they got together, and like you get to the point like how they broke up, but while also following them, trying to remain civil, trying to talk about it, whatever. And I really felt the love between the two characters. I think they had good chemistry. I think I loved all the friends. Like, I just really did love this. I appreciated all the characters for their different flaws, and that is a must read in my opinion, especially because like I'm 17 years old, but I'm about to go into college, and I'm about to say goodbye to all of my hometown friends. So I'm at a different stage of life than them, but still connected, because in like 4 months I will be leaving. I'm going to another state for college. After that, I listened to The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and this was a 3.5 for me. I did enjoy it for what it was. Basically, what happens is they're both like on this like radio show, and they come up with the idea to basically be fake exes and then make a radio show about it. So it's basically like two exes talking, and like the listeners love it and whatever, but then a real romance sparks. And my two major flaws that lowered this rating was, one, she was 29 and he was 24, and that's really not an issue. If it was the man being 29 and the girl being 24, I don't think there's any difference. And he's out of college, like he's in the real world, he can date whoever he wants at this point. But what made me uncomfortable about it was she kept reminding us that he was 24 and she was 29, and that she would always try to say things like that, like how we talk today, like using slang and stuff like that, and it just made it really cringy. And it's like 29 is not old. It just made it really cringy. And then there's one scene where she strips that suddenly he looks very 24, and I was like, pause, you're making this weird. And other than that, I really don't have much else to say about it. It was funny, it was easy. I just listened to it, so I didn't really have much of a problem with it. Alright, my next read was Abby Jimenez's Just for the Summer, and wow, this book ripped my heart out. 5 stars. Basically what happens is our main character, Justin and Emma, every time they date someone, that person goes on to find the love of their life. And Justin makes a Reddit post about it, and she replies and goes, oh my god, me too. And then he's like, oh, what if we date and we cancel out our curse? And then it just continues on from there, and this has so many amazing tropes. And don't let this fool you, this was a very sad book. Both of these characters are going through a lot through this whole book, and I thought the third act conflict was extremely realistic, and I just thought Justin was a sweetheart. I loved the kids in the book, I loved the best friend in the book, I loved all of it, and I love how like they got their happy ending, of course, because it's a romance book, they're happy endings. But this is a very sad book, and don't expect a cute little fun read because of this cute little fun cover. She tricked us with that one. And then I read The 7-Year Slip, and that is by Ashley Poston, and I rated this a 4-star, and I think I didn't love it as much as everyone else, because I listened to it, and I tend to get out of the story a little bit when I listen instead of read it. But this is basically following like our female main character, Clementine. She begins living in her aunt's apartment that was gifted to her, and it's told to be magical and sent to you in like different time periods. And she goes 7 years in the past and meets our male main character, and it's right person wrong time kind of vibe, because they're not in the same year even. And it was really I did enjoy it. It was a very emotional read, but I do feel disconnected because I listened to it, so maybe I will give this a reread and try to see if I connect more to it and like it more. But I did appreciate this for what it was. There was a lot of grief, a lot of things going on between the characters that just means a lot when they finally get together in the book. And then I read The Goal, which is the 4th book in the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. So The Score was the 3rd, I think, and I really liked this one more. I think this is a 4-star read for me. I don't think any of Elle Kennedy's, like, none of these books will probably be a 5-star for me. I think I've moved on from this kind of book. Like this kind of writing type. I do love Elle Kennedy. She's great getting into reading, and if you love her and you're not just getting into reading, that is perfectly fine. I think I'm just more like, I'm an emotional reader. I want to be really tied to the characters. But basically, this is an accidental pregnancy. And I really have not tested the waters with that trope. I just assume I hate it. But I did enjoy this because I think how they handled it was very maturely and very respectfully, and I loved the male main character so much. The female main character, I feel like I understood why she was the way she was, but I didn't connect to her as much. But he is the sweetest in this series, in my opinion. And I just enjoyed, like, how she wrote this. It was less romance than the other books, in my opinion, and I did really, really enjoy it. And then I read Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and this is the 2nd book to Divine Rivals, so I can't really talk about it very much. I think I rated this a 4 or 4.5. I don't think I rated it a 5. I rated Divine Rivals like a 5 or 6 star. Like, that was my book. But this one, I feel like, went down a different path, and I still loved it for what it was. It was still very beautifully written by Rebecca Ross. She does no wrong in that department. It's beautiful, it's sad, it's pulls your heartstrings. But I feel like this just went down a very different path that I can't talk about because it's the 2nd book to a book. Now, if you haven't read Divine Rivals, go do it. That's all I have to say. And then I read Addicted to You by Krista Ritchie. And I rated this a 4-star book. And I never thought I was going to read this because I have experiences and family members with these kind of topics. Basically, you're following our 2 main characters, and they're living together, fake dating for their parents in public eyes so they can both feed into their addictions. And the guy is an alcoholic, and she's a sex addict. If you didn't see that, I don't know how to explain that. A sex addict. And so basically, they're doing this so they can both feed into their addictions. And they're in more like high society. They're like famous. Both of their families own very, very big companies, and they're kind of expected to be a certain way, and they're not. And basically, this is them trying to help each other with their addictions, but they're also feeding into each other's addictions. And it's a really sad, sad story. And I didn't think I was going to read it because I was really scared that it was going to be portrayed a certain way, which I have had issues with in the past. Final offer. But I did end up really enjoying it and thought it was very realistic, and not realistic, but like it was portrayed well. I do plan on continuing the series, and I can't wait to continue the series. I actually had a blast, and I can't wait to know the characters more, and I see the hype now. My next read was Betting on You, and I believe I rated this a 5-star. Let me check. I rated it a 4. I might boot this up to a 4 or 4.5. But I really, really love Lynn Painter. I love her young adult. I know her adult books are more hit or miss, but basically we're following these 2 teens that meet at an airport, and years later, like after they really didn't get along, they end up working the same part-time job as like high school seniors, I think. And I see the other viewpoints of this book, and I still love it. I still ate it up. I love the banter. I love the tropes in this book that are put throughout it. I love everything. I love the main characters, and I come from a divorced family, so I understand like the love aspect that they kind of are confused on. But they make a bet when they're working together, saying that girls and guys can't just be friends. Newsflash, they couldn't be. And finally, after this very, very long video, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Now, I am late to this party. I know, I'm 17 and I just read The Hunger Games. What? Yeah, I've seen all the movies. I knew was gonna happen. One thing I can say about this book was amazing foreshadowing. I think I rated this a 4-star. It was not a 5 for me. I feel like some scenes dragged on, and I like wanted to keep reading the whole time. Like, I did not want to put this down, but at the same time, like, I was binge reading. I felt like I was only getting some. And then my other problem was there is a subplot of romance in this. I don't think you should read The Hunger Games for the romance, but I feel like the whole book, we didn't really see her side of the romance. Like, she wasn't really truly feeling it, and then that, like, trying not to spoil this, but when it does come out in the air, it feels like it came out of nowhere to me. And that was the only thing that disappointed me, but I didn't bring it down any more than a 4-star because, like, it's not the point of the book. It's whatever. It's young adult, yada yada. I did really enjoy this. I kind of wish I read this as a kid, too. I don't know if my brain would have handled it, but I loved it. But I will be continuing this series. My boyfriend picked these books out for me. He picked out these 4 books for me, and I read them all. It would be lovely if it would, yeah, there we go. And I read all of them and more for this month, so I'm very happy about it. This was a great reading month for me in April. March was more my average reading month, but, you know, summer is coming up, and after that, I have no worries. So, other than the fact that I'm going to college. Other than that, I am hoping to finish 2 YouTube videos pretty soon for this channel. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, please subscribe. It means a lot. And I have a book talk as well, which I'm more active on and way better on. But bye, guys.